This is Neural Newscast for Sunday, May 24th, 2026.
Our top stories. Nebraska triggers an early start for Medicaid work mandates, and diplomatic tensions rise between Washington and Berlin. Here is your week in review.
From Neural Newscast, I'm Peter Rowan.
And I'm Isabel Moreno.
We begin in Nebraska, which has officially become the first state to enforce new federal Medicaid work requirements.
The state is moving 8 months ahead of the mandatory January 2027 deadline. Analysts warn this accelerated timeline could leave more than 25,000 residents without health coverage.
Governor Jim Pillen defended the decision, Isabel, arguing that these mandates encourage community productivity and help residents find a sense of purpose.
While that goal is clear, the administrative burden is high. The state must now manage complex eligibility redeterminations every 6 months instead of once a year.
This overhaul is part of the 2025 tax and spending law, which reduced Medicaid funding by over $900 billion while mandating these new work rules.
According to the Congressional Budget Office, these changes could save the federal government $911 billion over a decade, primarily through lower enrollment numbers.
Nationally, that could mean up to 14 million people losing coverage by 2034, making the Nebraska rollout a closely watched test case.
We already have some historical context for this, Peter. Previous work mandates in Arkansas saw 18,000 people lose coverage without a significant increase in employment.
The Nebraska government maintains its staff is trained for the new standards and that a phased approach will protect those who remain eligible.
The full impact likely won't be seen until August, when the first cycle of 6-month eligibility renewals begins for those currently enrolled.
Other states, including Montana and Iowa, are also preparing for early rollouts, even though official federal guidance isn't expected until early June.
While we monitor domestic policy, the geopolitical scene is becoming increasingly complex, with new friction between Washington and its European allies.
President Trump has publicly criticized German Chancellor Friedrich Merz over his assessment of United States strategy toward Iran's nuclear program.
The dispute followed a speech by Merz in Marsburg, Germany, where he suggested the American delegation was being outplayed by the Iranian Revolutionary Guard during talks in Islamabad.
Merz specifically pointed to a lack of a clear strategic exit plan for American forces, drawing comparisons to previous engagements in Afghanistan.
President Trump responded on social media, Peter, claiming the chancellor does not grasp the stakes of Iran obtaining nuclear weapons and linking the critique to Germany's economy.
It is a sharp public disagreement, Isabel, especially as the president was simultaneously hosting King Charles and Queen Camilla for a state visit this week.
The friction reflects a broader divide within NATO over the Middle East crisis, as nuclear discussions in Pakistan remain effectively stalled.
Merz has expressed frustration that the current diplomatic approach has resulted in national humiliation, though the White House insists it is taking decisive action.
Observers suggest these disagreements could further complicate energy market stability if the talks in Islamabad do not see a breakthrough soon.
Further across the Atlantic, the political landscape in the United Kingdom is also shifting dramatically following local council elections.
Prime Minister Keir Starmer's Labour Party has suffered heavy losses, while Nigel Farage's Reform UK Party secured more than 300 seats across the country.
These gains were particularly concentrated in the Red Wall, the traditional industrial belt in northern England that has historically supported Labour.
In regions like Tameside, Reform UK ended nearly 5 decades of Labour control, Peter. It is a clear signal that voters are looking for alternatives.
Voters cited the rising cost of living as their primary concern, moving toward populist and independent candidates rather than the traditional two-party system.
Prime Minister Starmer has stated he takes full responsibility for the results, Peter, but he has also indicated that he will not step down.
The Conservative Party, under Kemi Badenoch, also faced significant challenges, losing over 100 seats as voters expressed frustration with the current government.
Even the Green Party, despite significant social media momentum, struggled to convert that visibility into actual council seats in most English boroughs.
Looking ahead, we are waiting for final counts from the Scottish and Welsh Parliament elections to see if this populist surge continues in regional governments.
Between the healthcare mandates in Nebraska and the political shifts in Europe, it has been a week of institutional challenges on both sides of the Atlantic.
We will be watching for the federal government's release of final Medicaid regulations on June 1st to see how other states react to Nebraska's lead.
And we'll also see if the diplomatic mission to Islamabad can find a path forward to stabilize regional security and address European concerns.
This has been Neural Newscast. Thanks for listening. Neural Newscast is AI-assisted, human-reviewed. View our AI transparency policy at neuralnewscast.com.